Times 412. Madam Clerk, will you do roll call, please?
Yes.
Member Nee?
Here.
Monet? Here. Washburn?
Here.
Hillhouse?
Present.
Sam?
Here.
David?
Here.
Highland?
Here.
Oka? Here. Fisher?
Here.
Grant?
Here.
Madam Clerk, we have a quorum.
Chair. Can I just inquire, did member Oka get sworn in prior to the meeting? Happy to have it.
Public comment on the agenda?
Sure, I'm gonna get to that.
It's an agenda item.
There we go, okay.
Comment on it.
Okay, can I see if first, any of the members have any agenda changes for Member Nee?
Madam Chair, I'd like to suggest that item two be withdrawn. We've already elected officers. At that election, we agreed it would be for the full year. It's been done, there's no need to have it on the agenda. I'd also like to observe that there are 4 complaints. It's too late to do anything about it now, but there are 4 complaints that are pending, that are, they're part of our backlog. They're not on today's agenda, and I think they should be. Granted, we have a heavy agenda already. Our meeting's going to go late, and at the same time, we don't know what's going to happen with any of the items that are already on the agenda. Some of them might be withdrawn, some of them might be continued, and it just seems to me that the 4 complaints that have not been included on the agenda should have been.
The reason, Member Nee, that we put these 5, well, to answer both questions. First of all, Mr. Reed, will you kind of confirm to us about the Vice President? Say again?
Vice Chair.
Vice Chair, I'm sorry. Presidential election, okay. Vice Chair, was that in our June meeting, our understanding was that you made a motion, I have it right here, do you have it? Just for, hold on a second, let's wait for an agenda. Do you have that?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
The administrator reviewed the minutes where the motion was made to have the election cover the period both of the remainder of the term and also the next year. And the motion applied, as it was phrased, not only to the chair position, it didn't include the vice chair. That's why the vice chair is on this agenda.
So this is just for the vice chair?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But so well, that's what we left on there.
Then I'm fine with it.
Okay, thanks.
I
What was
have
the
other
other,
comments on that, but
on your first issue about the 4 additional items? We just went because we haven't met in so long, for the 5 that were the, in the order that were the oldest. And then, because we've not gotten to those before, so we definitely have those in the order for the next 4 to come after. So if we, for some great chance we get to the other ones, we'd have to add that to the next meeting. We're gonna, okay, that's it. Any other comments from the board? Okay. Start.
Madam Chair, I'd like to,
I'm sorry.
so relative to agenda changes, have we received any indication that anyone's not going to be here, that anything needs to be continued? No, so we're, at this point, we're good with the agenda.
We're gonna have all 5
Okay.
of these complaints heard today.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm Patrick Manetshaw. Thank you, Chair. On page 2 of the agenda, item 8 says that you're going to discuss scheduling a special meeting due to a 3-month hiatus. I'm wondering, out of the members present, didn't any of you learn to count or notice that if you haven't met since May, it's not a 3-month period, it's a 5-month period? You haven't met for 5 months, not 3 months. I respectfully request that you change this agenda item after the fact, just to correct the historical record that you haven't
I'm looking at page 21 of the packet. Maybe I didn't hear correctly, but according to page 4 of the June minutes, I believe, says that Member Fisher was voted in as vice chair.
That's correct.
So then the meeting today is to elect a different vice chair?
We voted her in according to the motion that Member Mead made. It was for the chair. It was for the period of 1 year. The vice chair, inadvertently or however, was not made in that same motion. So that's what we're trying to correct here. You understand that we omitted, we didn't make a motion for the chair, and the motion was not made for the chair and the vice chair.
Okay, so when you get to the minutes, you'll have to correct that, won't you?
Mr. Briggs?
Through the chair, the election back in June was to fill the remainder of the terms of the two officers who were no longer serving on the task force. Had there not been an additional motion by Member Need to extend the term of that election for the chair, both of those positions would have to be re-elected because the term expired at the end of June, and then the new term started in July. So this has been the first meeting where the task force has taken any action since the expiration of that term.
So just for the vice chair? Yes. Okay.
Hello, my name is Jason Grant Garza, and I'm here, and I've been here before many, many times for many, many years. And I'm a little confused as to exactly what's going on, and I'd like, for maybe there to be some response. Do we live in Alaska? There's been a nuclear winter here for the last 5-6 months regarding sunshine. Has the sun gone down somewhere?
Point of order. Well, we're discussing the agenda. If the speaker has remarks about the agenda, certainly they're welcome. However, so far, those have not been included in his remarks.
Thank you for your opinion, sir. My remarks are based on the fact that you have an agenda here. How can you be meeting, and why are you thumping your chest when you haven't made any motions or campouts in front of the supervisors for the last 6 months? I'm questioning your integrity since it's on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry.
Members of the task force, Ray Hart, Inspector, San Francisco Open Government. I think there is an issue here related to the roll call, and that is the fact that you have 1 vacant seat and 3 holdovers. And these holdovers have been held over now for many months, and it is basically the Board of Supervisors being stubborn about not accepting the nominations of the appropriate bodies and trying to put them in a position to nominate people. And very frankly, if you're taking a roll call and we're continually dealing with people who are really not legally...
Excuse me, sir. That's not part of this agenda item.
As far as I'm concerned, it is, and the constitutional free speech says I can address it if I wish to.
Yes, you may. When we do the public comment, feel free. You can say whatever you want to say. But right now, we were trying to just do roll call to see who was present. But we'd love to hear from you at that time.
This is about the roll call. I said that to the beginning.
Are we making a
You are calling members who are not actually appointed properly, and you are going to hold, and you're talking about changes to the agenda where you're going to hold elections where there are 3 seats that are holdovers who will then leave, someone else will come in, and those people will not have participated in the election of officers for the year. And I think that is a totally inappropriate way to do it, and I mentioned this at the time when Mr. Wolf was not on the chair and you had to adjourn for 5 months because you weren't properly constituted. And one of the reasons I mentioned was the fact that the representative of the disabled community was not able to participate and even vote for, let alone maybe be one of the heads of either the chair or the vice chair or a head of a committee, because there was nobody present. So basically what I'm saying is this is such a weirdly constituted body that these changes you're talking about and saying, well, we have to elect the vice chair, we already elected a chair, all of those were done procedurally in questionable ways.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to go to item number 2. Is this something regarding the agenda?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I'm Peter Warfield, co-founder and head of Library Users Association. First of all, I want to second what Member Nee said about the agenda. I'd actually like to ask a broader question, and that is, how was the agenda constituted for this meeting, and essentially by whom and how? Because I think there is a question with respect to the election of the chair. Mr. Member Nee said that the backlog complaints should be on the agenda, and this is something that I have said repeatedly in the past. The disappearance, absolute disappearance from public view of complaints that have been filed, I think is a very bad thing. Now, it's understandable if you have a concern with respect to whether realistically or unrealistically you can get to things. You may be concerned about having a too big agenda, so that if everybody shows up and all the hearings occur, you would either have to go till 2 in the morning or chop off things. But there needs to be some way of recognizing that there is a backlog, or that there are items that are not on the agenda that have to be heard. Partly because, I don't know what they are, but in some cases you're legally required to have a hearing within a certain amount of time. But whether or not there is a legal requirement on those 4 items that we hear are backlogged, there needs to be some notation or agendizing of those items so that everybody can know what's what and that you haven't just simply forgotten about it.
Okay.
With respect to the election of a vice chair, that's fine as far as I'm concerned, but the chair was also elected by a body that was not legally constituted. And therefore, I'm concerned, why isn't the election of the chair on this agenda? And it should be on this agenda as well as any future agenda immediately, because the vote was taken with an unlawfully constituted group, which you yourselves recognized. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to move on to agenda item number 2, the election of vice chair.
Item number 2, the election of vice chair and election of officers per Article 2, Section 3 of the bylaws.
Member Nee?
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Member Fisher.
I'll second.
Any other comments? Any other nominees? Great. It has been moved and seconded that Member Fisher be nominated for the office of Vice Chair of the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force. Do you have any discussion?
So, I actually agree with some of the comments that were made, and my view is that if we were not properly constituted at the time, that we should re-elect both the chair and the vice chair. So I'm happy to support this motion now, but I would request that we re-elect the chair at the next meeting, just so that there's no question for the rest of the year that the chair and the vice chair were duly elected.
Mr. Dupree, so since Member Nee had already, it's been duly noted down the June meeting, he made that motion and we all accepted it for the chair. Will that stay? Can we keep that as is and then move on? And right now, we won't have to keep coming back to re-elect officers.
Through the chair, I think the question that's been raised is a slightly different one, but I think the answer to your question, I believe, is yes, because the motion, as was made at the time of the election, was to fill the remainder of the term that was vacated, and also to fill the annual term that started in July through the following summer. There's a different question, however, that's been raised, and that Member Bell is raising, as to the